Good evening, everybody. Tommy, welcome back.
Good to be back, man. Good to be back.
This is episode 33, week 19. Let's get this show started, why don't we?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
Tommy, good evening.
Good evening, man. How you doing?
Good, man, good. Have we got a lot to talk about?
Yeah, we sure do. Been another very exciting weekend of wrestling.
Absolutely. It has been a very busy 2 weeks. SummerSlam weekend, Payback weekend. We pretty much all know why Payback weekend happens, which we'll discuss a little bit later. And also, we have All Out weekend coming up this weekend. And I believe the G1 is right around the corner in just a couple days as well. But first, we're going to touch on NXT. We're not going to hop on it too much, just because as we are recording this show, tonight's episode, Tuesday night special, is airing right now as we speak. For those of you guys that are watching live or about to watch live, we're going to have a short show for you and be done just in time for the NXT Championship match that's about to take place. A 1 hour match. Also, we are joined tonight by Cooper. Cooper, welcome back.
Thank you for having me again. It's good to be back.
It is always good to have you, Cooper. So we're going to start off today, and we're just going to talk really quick. We're going to kind of brush through everything and hit the key points. And then for those of you that are watching, be on the lookout for another show later on. But first, let's talk about how Karrion Kross defeated Keith Lee in what some believe was kind of an underwhelming main event. But the whole purpose of this is Keith Lee, Karrion Kross had to drop the title due to injury, separated shoulder. I personally don't know how long he's going to be out for. But now we have a problem, which is going to be resolved tonight, hopefully. Vacant title. And that is going to be resolved by a 1 hour Iron Man match between Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, Adam Cole, and who am I missing here? I'm drawing a blank.
Tommaso Ciampa.
Tommaso Ciampa. So before we move on, Tommy, give us a little insight. Who do you got tonight?
Oh man, I mean, talk about a star-studded cast. This is for what happened with Karrion Kross. I think they couldn't have come up with a better match. I mean, you don't see Iron Man matches a lot anymore, especially for the first time ever. We're seeing a fatal four-way Iron Man match, which I think is going to be, I mean, you got four of the best wrestlers in the world in one match. It's a toss-up, man. I really like Finn Balor. I think he is in line for another NXT title opportunity. My choice has to be Tommaso Ciampa. I think coming back from an injury, we saw him last week kind of doing some heelish acts, attacking Jake Atlas after the match, even after he went on the stretcher. I think he is the right guy to move forward. I think we could see Adam Cole move up to the main roster here soon, and I really like Tommaso Ciampa coming back and win the title here.
How about you, Cooper? What do you think?
So I've got a little bit of a power ranking here for these four right now. I see Gargano at the very bottom. He's been the most active on social media and running his mouth, but I don't see him carrying the flag right now. Next on that list would be Adam Cole. He's in a limbo right now. We don't know if he's going to go to the main roster. They were going for a heelish champion with Karrion, and the Undisputed Era is kind of phasing towards a face move right now. So I don't know if they want to go with a face champion. Next would be Ciampa, because that absolute squash of Jake Atlas last week and, putting him under the ring apron and just slingshotting him in the cell of that, like he crushed his trachea basically, and then spiked him with the DDT wearing a freaking neck brace off the stretcher. That's pretty sadistic stuff right there. That's your typical Ciampa, but my heart and my head say Finn Balor right now. We've never gotten a Balor heel title run, so we really haven't seen Bullet Club Finn run at the top of the game, and I think that's a smart move right now. They sent him back down for a reason. Very lackluster Intercontinental title run. It just pinged back and forth between him and Lashley for so much. It meant absolutely nothing, and the title was basically buried. This would kind of help his stock. It actually really needs to happen. So that's my head and my heart right now. It's a little too sweet right now.
You know what? I have to agree with either one of you. Not too sure if they go Gargano here. Adam Cole just had a 1 year championship run. I can't see them putting it back right on him right away. Finn Balor is a good option too, just to raise him back up a little bit, and Ciampa too. Ciampa never lost the title, so he came back and he was heavily featured last week. So I mean, I have to go between Ciampa and Finn Balor. I think of the leading two candidates. It's hard for me to choose between the two.
Do we go into overtime like a 2-2-2-2-2?
Depending on what time they start the match today.
Yeah,
Cooper, do you have that TV on in the background?
I've
Are you
got
keeping an eye on? You keeping an eye on that?
I haven't started it just yet, but I can swap over to moment's notice.
Gotcha. Yeah. So moving on. Yeah, and Cooper, like you predicted, I would imagine they would probably start the match around 8:45, 8:50, just to kind of give that little extra buffer, so that it could happen, or maybe they won't even be a pinfall until the end. They may not even be in overtime.
Man, that'd be tough.
An hour of false finishes. Ooh, yeah. that's like a Steamboat Savage right there.
Yeah, that's some Brett Shawn right there from WrestleMania.
So that's our NXT talk. We will touch on that a little bit later on tonight in our second show. But we have some pretty big things going on with WWE this weekend too as well. Second straight weekend for a WWE pay-per-view. And as you guys know, when SummerSlam went off the year, we saw a different type of Roman Reigns, which we will get into a little later. And SmackDown, we saw Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. And now, when you guys saw that footage, what did you guys think of that? Were you caught by surprise there? I know, because we know there was a little bit of a heelish Roman Reigns in SummerSlam, but were you caught by surprise when Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman were in the same room?
Yeah, I definitely was. I don't know how, anybody could say that they were expecting that. I think putting him, we've kind of seen the seeds planted for a while, ever since Roman and Paul kind of first had their first interaction. We've seen them interact a little bit. We've always seen Paul Heyman talk very highly of Roman Reigns. And to finally get to that spot where, he says it's not a prediction, and it pans over to Paul Heyman and he says it's a spoiler. I mean, for somebody who's been waiting for a Roman Reigns heel turn to where he's just, finally a different character in, truth or time, we'll find out with time whether or not he's actually going to be a different person or if he's going to be the same big dog that we've seen for the past 6 years. I really enjoyed it. I was very surprised. And, with what happened on Sunday, I thought it was, a good move. And like I said, we'll see with time.
Feels a little forced. Like he was too brash, especially after SummerSlam went off the air. Like just trying to be a piss poor attitude and just trying to come out and everything and spear and, showing those bright new chompers of his and everything and just screaming at everybody and, just in front of everybody's face and you're nothing but a freak in a mask and God almighty. I don't know. It was a cheap pop seeing Paul Heyman there, but at the same time, Vince's pecking order was Brock and then Roman of people that he loved, and he's trying to fuse the two together. Like, please God, no. Like, let him try to be a heel in his own way. Brock was such a jackass champion. They're trying to rub this the exact same way, and I don't want to rinse and repeat. Nobody wants Brock Lesnar. Nobody wants Brock Lesnar 2.0. So let him find his own way to be a heel. But CM Punk was able to find it and still get over with everybody. Daniel Bryan was able to get over as a heel champion. It's just everybody has their own niche, and Roman doesn't have it yet. I mean, I'm gonna give it some time, but as of right now, it's kind of nah.
Well, it is fresh. It's fresh, so we may as well just stay on a topic, keep it moving along. But it's fresh content. Seeing him with Paul Heyman, it's something new. Whether you like it or not, it's something new that we're seeing. So I'm interested. I'm willing to give it a chance too. And not for nothing, the last week or so has proved that the SmackDown side is still better with Roman Reigns than without Roman Reigns, because that main event picture was suffering. The Braun Strowman experiment, in my opinion, him as champion has failed miserably. I think Roman needed to come back to give that shot in the arm, believe it or not. And the ratings are popped.
Yeah, I mean, the ratings have gone up for SmackDown. I wouldn't say
everything's over too the past 2 weeks.
I wouldn't say Strowman failed miserably. It's just he had nothing to work.
It's not working.
With. Yeah, well,
you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it was Bray. He beat him down, and then he goes into a swamp for a cinematic match. There's no decision there, and the Fiend returns, and then the Fiend comes and just kills him.
Yeah. And not to mention, you had Braun Strowman feuding with Miz and Morrison.
Yeah. I mean, he had nothing to work with being in a title picture, which is why some of the rumors for the draft right now are, I really want them to happen so we can get some better main events on both sides.
And it's tough, too, because you have Otis kind of floating around with the Money in the Bank, and it's just like the Money in the Bank has always been this huge thing, and we've seen a few, missteps with Sandow and, a couple other guys, but it's just like, what are they going to do? They have to get it off of him at some point, and he's not beating any of these three. No. So it's just like, at some point, there's got to be another main event star, and I agree with you with the draft. Like, hopefully it just adds something to where, both brands can kind of have a decent main event scene to where it's not the same guys over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a couple ways you can take that briefcase off of Otis. I mean, you can have somebody challenging for him. Maybe you can have Mandy turn and deceptively get the briefcase off of him and have her convince him to give her the suitcase and let her cash in and then say sayonara. You could do something like that. Or you can simply just cash in as the tag titles with Heavy Machinery. WWE got in their own way by putting the briefcase on Otis. They definitely got in their own way. I would have been better. The suitcase is more suited for main event spot. I probably would have thrown it on AJ or Daniel Bryan. I was
hoping for Aleister Black in that match, to be honest.
Aleister Black,
before he got thrown off the roof.
Before homicide was committed.
Yeah.
And then they each came back the night after.
Yeah, exactly.
They fell
thrown off the building.
But hey, it took him a while. It took him a while to sell the eye for what happened there.
His eye falls out and he's back the next night wrestling. Unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up. So let's stay on the topic really quick. At Payback, we see Fiend versus Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns. Roman, nowhere to be found, still hasn't signed that contract, and unbeknownst to us, he comes in the middle of the match. Contract already signs. We see Braun attack the Fiend from behind, trying to get a quick win at the very beginning of the match. It's basically a one-on-one match the whole 3/4 of the match until we see Roman Reigns come in. The Fiend's making a comeback, eventually putting Braun through the table. And then not too long after that, we see Roman Reigns come in, give Braun Strowman the low blow, and then giving the Fiend the low blow, and then quickly pinning Braun Strowman. We knew that Braun Strowman was taking the loss. We called it last week, I believe. So Braun was getting that loss, not the Fiend. So Roman Reigns, your new heel WWE champion. Universal champion on the SmackDown side. Pretty decent main event. I did. A lot of people will probably knock the whole ring collapsing, but listen, Charlie Robinson
did great there.
Charles
Little
Robinson.
Nate did so good right there.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to be kidding me! This is happening again. But then Charles Robinson falling out of the ring, I thought it was great. Sold that very well.
That was a Shawn Michaels sell right there.
U.S. title match: Lashley versus Apollo. Lashley defeats Apollo for the United States Championship. I guess we kind of saw that coming.
Yeah,
I didn't see the aftermath coming. It kind of made I don't know what you guys think about it, but it kind of made Apollo to me look like a little sore loser. Attacking Bobby after the match. We didn't see the rest of the Hurt Business get involved, and then right after the match, he goes after and attacks him. It's just kind of it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's like,
what did you think, Cooper?
They're trying to tweak his character a little bit, but I'm still not buying Apollo as a heel whatsoever. That bright smile, that he doesn't have the voice of a heel. So I guess he's trying to prove it with his actions, but even still, and then he's on the ramp screaming he's going to get his title back. I didn't buy that whatsoever.
Then we get Sheamus versus Big E. Big E with the big ending to defeat the Celtic Warrior. What do you guys think of the possibility of Big E being pushed towards the main event scene?
I also agree with Cooper here. I like it. I think it's going to take some time. I don't think that it's something that they can rush into. As we saw with this match, these two hit each other hard. They were dominating each other, and I thought it was great. You need, Big E, we know he's got the charisma, and if you've watched his matches, going back to his NXT days when he won the championship there, he's a good wrestler in the ring, and it's good that he has, when they come back, Kofi and Xavier to kind of build off of and have them as talking points for him. But I think if they take it slow, they could have a really good main event star on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree. I think they need to kind of maybe steer away from the hulkiness just a little bit. Just get him a little more serious at some points. He needs to, I think they just need to know how to dial it up and dial it down with him.
Yeah, they've been kind of slow brewing it for a while because especially there was a retribution attack on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So he's kind of rallying the troops. It was when him and Morrison were supposed to open the show, but he's rallying everybody. And then after that match, or the match on Sunday, he's up to Corey Graves' face and everything. And he's like, it's time to believe. And, Corey Graves playing the heel announcer, he's always hated the New Day. He hates the dancing. He hates the hokiness, but even he's trying to sell it right now and get it built up. He's like, this is a different Big E. I'm starting to believe myself. So it needs to be a slow build up. You just can't shove it right down somebody's throat.
That's true. Well, do you guys think that it's possible that we could see a title on Big E by WrestleMania 37?
Are we talking just any title or
world title? One of the world titles.
I don't see them going that way. I think.
Or do they maybe slow burn it towards next year's SummerSlam?
I'd see that more possible than a WrestleMania match. I think just the uncertainty of
or maybe
what's going on in the world.
Money in the Bank for next year.
Contract winner.
Build them up towards Money in the Bank, and then now we can see him as a number one contender. Hey, listen, if they could put the briefcase on Otis, they can basically put it on anybody.
Yeah, there's so many up in the air things, especially with the draft coming next month.
Yeah,
Edge is iffy right now, so that's why Randy doesn't have the belt right now. So the WWE title is the 30 WrestleMania 37 plans are kind of scrapped at this point. So in that Universal title, it's such a Russian roulette right now. I don't know what to call at this point. I would like to, or I think that would be a good point for him. It would be kind of a repeat of what Kofi did
I was just
last
about
year.
to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he needs to win it at some point, but don't do it immediately.
Yeah. Really quickly, we won't touch too much on this. We have Matt Riddle versus Baron Corbin. Riddle attacked from behind to start the match, very much the same fashion that Braun Strowman attacked the Fiend in the main event at Payback. Riddle eventually wins the match. Finish with this finishing move, getting a pinfall on Corbin. Corbin afterwards attacks Riddle and Catering, so it looks like we're going to get another match there. Any quick thoughts on that?
I don't know. Again, I don't know what you guys think. I found it interesting the way that they kind of
Matt Riddle needed that win.
He did need that win, especially with this promo, the promo that he had before. I thought it was really interesting that we've seen WWE kind of, intertwine personal stories, with the Jeff Hardy stuff, but the infidelity, the things about, or the rumors with Matt Riddle, I was very surprised, and it almost looked like he was a little bit too, that they put that into the promo.
He 100% was. I read apparently Riddle didn't know about that tweet that went out. So whenever they mentioned that in that promo, his reaction was 100% legit. Like, the hell, man! Like, why would y'all do that?
That's crazy. There's just some boundaries I just don't know if WWE should cross, but with their history, it seems like they don't really care.
I mean, look, they did it with the Jeff Hardy Sheamus scenario with the drinking.
Yeah.
Well, they did already. They passed that, but WWE has a lot habit of doing that. Then we see Shayna and Nia Jax versus Sasha and Bayley for the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. And Shayna submits Bayley in a very unique fashion, using Sasha Banks' arm to tap out Bayley with a choke from behind. I thought this was pretty cool.
Oh, for sure.
New tag team champions, by the way.
Honestly, this is probably like my favorite, besides Randy and Drew, this was probably my favorite match of the night, because I was expecting either Shayna or Nia to walk out and, start a new feud that way. But when that submission number one, and Shayna, like, the way she wrapped up Sasha and then, like, ended up putting Bayley in the Kirifuda clutch, I was like, damn, I'm pretty impressed by that. And just the way she made it tap. But they're obviously building steam for the Bayley Sasha feud, and probably getting a face turn for, I would assume Sasha would be the face of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think you're right, though. But, man, Cooper, we haven't really talked much WWE too much lately, but Sasha can't get a title defense win.
No matter what, she can't.
Yeah. I mean, they were talking about her, or Bayley kind of cut a little promo on her on Friday, I think
she did.
She's like, listen, I know you don't have a good track record defending the Raw Women's title, but we're good on Sunday. Don't worry.
Salt in the wound.
Just a bit.
So, no, the way I see it, I don't know where else you go from here. We could probably see Bayley lose the title, Clash of Champions, maybe with Sasha in the corner, and then maybe they build to Hell in a Cell. I'm not too sure what happens from here. It looks like they're going in that direction, though. Bayley and Sasha program, it looks like it's headed that way to a one-on-one match finally. You know what? Personally, I would probably have them do it for Survivor Series, because Survivor Series needs eyeballs on that pay-per-view, and I think you're close enough where we should put it off till Survivor Series at least to get a decent match on there. So Survivor Series really hasn't had a great track record these past couple of years. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
It's not,
I like the idea of waiting till Survivor Series. I don't think Bailey loses the title though. I think it would be smarter for Banks to take it off of her, and then they have a little mini feud after over the title. But whatever, we all know it's an inevitable match that's gonna come. But hopefully, if it is for the title, we can finally see Banks defend it for longer than a week.
I'm trying to figure out, like, what do you do next to progress the storyline? I'm thinking Sasha and Bailey should look for their rematch for the tag titles, and then have everything spin out of control between the two of them from there.
Yeah, I think that's a good match that you could see if they wanted to. It depends on how quick they want to get to that match. And we're seeing, I still don't know if they know how quick they want to get to it. We see, as we saw them lose the tag titles here. But I think if they did speed up the process, I think that could be a really good Hell in a Cell match. We saw Sasha Banks and Charlotte a few years ago, and I think that would be, Sasha Banks and Bailey have had a great history of matches going back to NXT. And I really think that would be one of those matches deserves a Hell in a Cell, because you like to save that match for, good rivalries, and I think that's one of the best ones, or one that could be one of the best rivalries on the entire roster.
Absolutely. And we saw their match in 2015 at NXT Brooklyn. I was there for that. And that was one of the best women matches I've seen in person. They tore the house down. That Brooklyn crowd was hot. Was absolutely hot for that match. Unbelievable. I can't even tell you how many times I've gone back and watched that match. I'll always go back to watch that match. Hopefully they can do something compared to what they did then. That'd be phenomenal. The Mysterios defeat Seth Rollins and Murphy. Murphy accidentally kicked Seth Rollins, and then we saw leading into Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins basically not having to do anything with Murphy at the moment. Even kicked him out of the ring during one of their promos on Monday Night Raw. So Murphy accidentally kicked Seth Rollins. The advantage went to the Mysterios. They take advantage of the situation that just happened. Dominic with the 619 and the frog splash and gets his first pinfall win in WWE. What do you guys think of Dominic here?
Cooper, you want to lead it off?
yeah, it's a feel good story. I mean, it was coming. It was eventually going to happen. It's unfortunate that Ray is going to be out of action for a while now. But it's kind of the capstone of the rivalry itself. I know we had a little bit of a spillover into Monday for the triple threat main event setup, but it's kind of necessary. Like I said,
Yeah.
kind of saw.
You know what? Let's keep it right there. Talk about the main event. So welcome back. So we see a couple matches that took place on Raw. Okay, so we get basically the winners will fight each other later in the night for the main event in a triple threat. And the winner of that triple threat match will be facing the WWE champion at Clash of Champions, which should be Drew McIntyre. So we see Keith Lee defeat Dolph Ziggler in one of the matches there. Keith Lee wins, advances to the main event of the Raw triple threat. Keith Lee with the big spirit bomb on Dolph Ziggler. He got Dolph Ziggler way up there.
Can't ask for a better seller than Ziggler. You want to look good. Ziggler's the guy to do it for you.
Oh yeah.
The other match was Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. KO was attacked from behind by Aleister Black. So I would expect Aleister Black and KO to be having a match at the next pay-per-view. It hasn't been officially signed. For those of you that are watching, you heard it here first. KO in a program with Aleister Black now. Basically beat the tar out of Kevin Owens, fed him to Randy Orton. The match started. Randy Orton got the quick win. What did you guys think of this?
Loved it. I loved it. I'm a huge supporter of Aleister Black. I think he has world champion potential written all over him.
Absolutely.
Love his music, love his ring style. I think his in-ring or his mic skills could use a little bit of work, but I think so can a lot of people. I like him on the mic overall. But man, having him turn heel is something I've been waiting for. I kind of wish it wasn't on Kevin Owens, who's also, one of my favorite members of the roster, but I think these two can have an excellent match if they're given the time. I think their styles really coincide well with each other.
Having that little eye patch on or the bandana on, he reminds me of like Snake from Metal Gear right now.
Yes.
He's just going around killing everybody. But I kind of like the heel Alistair. I'd like to see how he does on the mic as a heel completely. So that's yet to be determined. But I've said on the show multiple times, Kevin Owens is one of my top 5 performers in the company right now, between mic skills and in-ring ability. So watching these two just waylay on each other, take my money and I'll go.
This is one of those ones. I know WWE kind of likes to do some random Hell in a Cell matches, especially the past few years with the pay-per-view.
Oh my God.
If this was one of those random Hell in a Cell matches, I would be all about it. I think these two would steal the show instantly.
Yes.
Aleister Black has done a lot of great work. You can't remember, you can't forget his numerous matches he's had against Buddy Murphy. Phenomenal work.
Oh, yeah.
Those two guys, I can watch them fight forever. You can give it to me every week, and I'll enjoy it.
For sure.
But Aleister Black's had a great year. So is Buddy Murphy. And then we had the other third qualifying match, Dom Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. And the winner of that match will also advance to the triple threat main event, joining Keith Lee and joining Randy Orton. But what a great match. Seth Rollins with the win, capitalizing off of Dominic Mysterio's miss Frostwest, gets the qualifying win for the main event at the end of the night. But Dominic had a very good showing.
Yeah, he really did. I was honestly kind of with, the way that he's been booked in his first 2 matches, I wouldn't have said I would have been surprised if he would have walked away with a win and then lost in the triple threat. I think I was kind of expecting Murphy to come out at some point and maybe inadvertently cost Seth the match again. But, I mean, overall, I cannot be more impressed with what Dominic has done in the ring. I think he has looked, for not being a wrestler for that long and jumping in and getting on 2 of the biggest, shows of the year and Payback and SummerSlam. I mean, it's tough to jump in on a Monday Night Raw and make your debut, and you're jumping in on Payback and SummerSlam and then following up with Raw. I mean, I think he's done a great job. But overall, I mean, Seth Rollins was phenomenal in this match. I thought it was a really well done match.
Yeah, I'm about the same. Dominic has really surprised everybody. He's young. He's still green. He's got a few things he needs to work on. There was one spot. I can't remember if it was at SummerSlam or at Payback, but he went sent into the turnbuckle or into the corner. It wasn't real hard, but he oversold it really bad. So that kind of stood out to me. So he's got a little bit of stuff to work on, and then how Ray execute the 619. He can go super quick and super smooth. Dominic can't build up that huge speed just yet and get that full spin. So, I mean, he's got a couple just little tweaks here and there. But other than that, I mean, the kid has done amazing for everything. And then especially whenever he attacks or whenever Seth was going up to get Angie, he trounced Seth, threw him into the steps. Buddy charged after him and he gave him a back body drop halfway across the outside area. So, I mean, the kid's got some potential and he's showing it pretty well right now.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to watch. And you know what? The ring announcers, I believe it was Tom Phillips calling that Monday night. They did a good job calling this match. Had you believing that there was a possibility that Dominic could win that match until that missed frog splash happened and then Seth Rollins with the curb stop followed by the win. But good job across the board for everybody involved in the match, including the color commentary on that one. Before we talk about the main event, the Iconics versus Riot Squad. Winning team becomes number 1 contender. Losing team is no more. Turns out that the Riot Squad wins. They're going to be the number 1 contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. And the Iconics are gone. They were annoying.
Really? You don't like them as a team?
I'm gonna
they got chemistry, but sometimes they annoy me.
I'm gonna lean more towards Peyton Royce is done. So I can see her joining her husband over from that other company.
Ooh, that very well could be. I mean, um, listen, they're already in Florida already, so but once come travel time, once both brands are touring again, whenever that may be, Peyton probably gonna want to be with um whatever his name is, Sean
Billy. Oh yeah,
Spears.
Sean Spears. Yeah, yeah. No,
I,
I
I
mean,
was I was thinking of Ty Dillinger. I was thinking more of his WWE name.
hey, we're not allowed to say his name anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I was surprised. I thought this match just kind of came out of nowhere. It was just like
Dude.
we've seen Riot Squad feuding for the last however many months, and the Iconics have always kind of been that team. Like you said, they do come across as annoying, but I like them in the ring. I think that they were a good team. And then the whole stipulation where it's just like the Riot Squad just got back together at Payback, and then we see them and we see how good friends Iconics are, and then it's loser has to break up. I don't know. It definitely came off as forced to me. I've heard stuff about how they really like Peyton Royce, and where she could get a good singles run, which would be interesting. I think she's the better of the two in my opinion. But
Yeah.
overall, I was just I liked what they did later in the show with Raw Underground, with the Iconics. But I was very surprised with how quickly they decided to break them up after what happened on Payback.
Cooper probably nailed it on the head. There could be a plan where she could also be on the way out. I've heard they were high on her too as well. But it makes sense. Her husband is on another brand. They may want to be together. But then they could be given that they could be given that singles run, like you said, Tommy. That could very well happen. And one last match. We're gonna bring the plane in for landing. We got the triple threat main event. So now we know that Seth Rollins advanced, Keith Lee advanced, and oh geez, what was the other the name that I'm missing? Randy Orton advanced because of defeating Kevin Owens. So winner of this match in a triple threat, Keith Lee, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins will go on to main event against Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Keith Lee hits the spirit bomb on Seth Rollins, so he does it again. It's another beautiful spirit bomb. I loved it. Had Seth Rollins way up there. You think that Keith Lee is going to get the win there. It was built. He was featured very well in this match. But Randy from behind knocks the RKO onto Keith Lee. Randy then punts Seth in the head. And Randy gets the win. Doesn't pin Keith Lee, pins Seth Rollins to get that win. Keith Lee is protected. Thank God. Booking's been fairly decent for Keith Lee so far. So we're going to get our Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the championship. Now, Cooper, getting back to what we were talking before. Where do we go from here?
Oh, it's such a crapshoot right now. I mean, Randy's been trying to look super strong against Drew. I mean, 3 punts to the head on one episode of Raw. It brain bleeding and sent to a local area medical facility. And the way that they sold it, it's light or career-threatening injuries, possibly life-threatening injuries. It's like, really? Like, you're really trying to sell this dude like he's a brand new superstar. I don't know how to call this match. Clash of Champions, I know it's a big night where titles change, but at the same time, are you ready to pull the trigger and take it off Drew? I know there are talks of moving things around. So with the Fiend kind of being up in the air and trying to make him a face, Braun is a heel. Do you move Drew to SmackDown to be the top face there? There are just so many variables right now, and I just don't know how to read it right now.
No, yeah, for sure. I was kind of expecting Keith Lee to get the win here, because with what you have in the Randy Orton Drew McIntyre is, like you said, is it time for Randy to finally take that championship off of him, or do you have McIntyre get his revenge? Like you said, he got Claymore or punted 3 times in one episode, so he needs to get that revenge. But with what you do with Keith Lee is not only do you have him get a win over 2 of the top stars, in the history of the business, in Seth Rollins and Randy Orton, you get him into Clash of Champions. You have that story to where, as he was talking about earlier in the night, he's my friend and I've known him for years, but business is business. I'm going to do what I can to get that title. Then you have Randy come in, and as much as people don't like, false finishes or having interference, I think that is a good way to set up for Hell in a Cell, is you have Randy attack both of them. Then you could either do, a McIntyre, Randy in a Hell in a Cell, or you could even do a triple threat at the pay-per-view. I just think that would have been a way better, match result. And I think, giving Keith Lee that rub, we've heard about how much they want to push him to the moon, continue to strap that rocket on his back, man. Give him a win over 2 top guys and then get him in that main event of the pay-per-view. You don't have to have a clear winner, because we've seen them do the false finish multiple times in pay-per-views. I just thought Keith Lee was the right choice here.
Well, they clearly protected him. So I believe they have a plan for him. They may be saving him versus Drew for down the line. They might be saving it for the pay-per-view after Hell in a Cell Survivor Series. It's good to see Keith Lee on a Raw brand, because it's making the brand look a little fresh. We get some new matches. So I guess this is one of those things where we're just going to have to ride out and see what happens. I mean, you got Royal Rumble season coming up. There are a number of opportunities where you can insert Keith Lee into the championship match. And I think that's coming. I think that's absolutely coming. They're very high on him. So, well, that pretty much wraps up our WWE talk for the week. For those of you that are listening or about to listen, and we'll be back on a little bit later tonight to talk some AEW, and we're looking at a prediction show probably on Thursday. So if you guys like what you hear, please share with your friends, give our YouTube a subscribe, and share and get the word out that we are here each and every single week. Cooper, Tommy, thank you so much for hopping on tonight, and we will see you guys soon.